Let's do this. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in 2022. Round 1 is complete. It happened last night. I've got my full grades. If you guys want to pause this and screenshot it, look at, a singular grade, you can do it. But I am going to go team by team, pick by pick through all of these picks and talk about why I gave the grade that I gave. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom this in maybe to 200. Or maybe we go 300. Let's just see how this looks. Yeah, we'll go 300. Okay, guys, so Trayvon Walker goes number 1 overall. Obviously, I'm going to give the pick an F. The notes is just like my instant reaction to the actual pick, so I put LOL. But did you guys notice during the actual draft, it was like Mel Kiper and Louis Riddick got together before the draft started and said, listen, Trayvon Walker's probably going number 1 overall. We both don't like him, but somebody's going to have to hype him up. They made Booger McFarland hype up Trayvon Walker, and you could tell Mel Kiper and Louis Riddick did not like the Trayvon Walker pick. They were like, oh, he's going to have to get coached up. If you're the number 1 overall pick, and the first thing they say about you when you get drafted is the defensive line coach is going to have to coach him up, that is a horrible sign. I hate this pick. I'm going to give out team grades once the entire draft is complete. We've got rounds 2 and 3 tonight with, by the way, you guys see some of the players remaining on the board tonight. Oh my God, it is loaded. But Trayvon Walker, obviously, I'm going to give it an F again. 0 college production. Very good athleticism, no production. That's what I always say. All athleticism, no production. Trayvon Walker, completely taken out of several big games. And, again, it's funny how Louis Riddick and Mel Kiper, they probably got together and they're like, let's make Booger hype this kid up because we don't want any part of this. He's just, and they made Booger hype him up. So he goes number 1. Aiden Hutchinson goes number 2. I gave that pick an A, saying it was easy, very obvious pick. Once it was rumored that the Jaguars weren't going to be picking Hutchinson at number 1, you're talking about Detroit taking, a franchise-type pass rusher. He's from Michigan, the hometown kid. That's going to play into the fans' favor. That's going to win them some brownie points. It'll be fun to watch him and Jeff Okudah. Shout out to Jeff Okudah, who I think is going to be comeback player of the year. That's going to be a really good young defensive nucleus. If I was them, I'm trading up for Jacoby Dean tonight. I'm trading up for him. I know they traded their last pick of the first round to move up and get Jamison Williams. We'll talk about that. Derek Stingley Jr. at number 3. So originally I had given this grade a D, but I changed it to an F when I thought about what Houston's future looked like. And it's just these franchises continue to befuddle me with these decisions. Why is Derek Stingley Jr. going in front of Ahmad Gardner? To me, it just sounds like they're trying to be smarter than everyone else. It just comes off as so bad. Like, it's just a forced pick. Like, I understand Derek Stingley Jr. was amazing as a true freshman. I've said that several times. But it's just, like, there's just no reason. Part of draft, especially having a top 5 pick, is mitigating risk. Derek Stingley Jr. is an extremely risky prospect. If you're going to take a corner, take Ahmad Gardner. Now, I know their scouting department is going to say, oh, we like Derek Stingley Jr. more. The guy was injured the last 2 years. There's no need for it. Personally, I would have loved to see Houston draft Ike Ekwonu. He ends up going number 6. We'll get to that, but yeah, Derek Stingley Jr., I just thought it was like a forced pick, like Houston's front office was like, look how smart we are, Derek Stingley. Like, no, it's just a forced pick. You're taking on so much unnecessary risk by picking a guy that's been injured the last 2 years at number 3 overall. That is bad value. Bad value. Number 4, Ahmad Gardner. This was a pick a lot of people expected. The Jets, they've got picks number 4 and number 10. They take Gardner. I gave it an A, not an A+, because taking a corner at number 4, that's not great value, but still, you got to give this pick an A. They did the right thing. To me, Ahmad Gardner is a complete shutdown corner. I think he was like the number 5 overall player on my big board, so I'm completely fine with this pick. He goes number 4. He will be a shutdown corner, similar to what Jalen Ramsey is. He's an absolute stud. The Giants end up taking Kayvon Thibodeau. Not bad. but it's just different philosophy from what I would have done. So I would have been scared that Carolina would have taken Ike Ekwonu, which they end up doing, and I would have drafted Ekwonu at number 5, and then, would have thought Thibodeau would have fallen to number 7, and Carolina would have ended up with Charles Cross at that point, because it seemed like Carolina was taking an offensive tackle no matter what. Maybe they like Evan Neal more than Ekwonu, but I just thought the New York Giants could have had a little bit better haul if they took Ekwonu at number 5 because he was on the board. And then with Carolina very likely taking an offensive tackle, you could have still gotten Thibodeau at number 7. But Thibodeau is a fine pick. He's got a chance to be a franchise-type pass rusher. He's one of those Jadeveon Clowney freak athletes types. So that's a fine pick. I gave it a B-, not bad. Number 6, my first A+, Akeem Ekwonu, and this is an unbelievable steal for the Carolina Panthers, a team that needed it. They needed it. They stay at number 6. They don't reach for a quarterback. They don't trade back. I was not thinking Akeem Ekwonu was going to be on the board at number 6. This is a future franchise left tackle. He's the best, most high upside offensive tackle in the class. So I give that pick an A+. I'm shocked he was there at 6, and that is phenomenal value for Carolina. Being patient, reading the board, taking advantage of the Giants, maybe liking Evan Neal a little bit more than Ekwonu, and they get Ekwonu at number 6. Then the Giants come back. Like I said, they take Evan Neal. It's a safe pick. Evan Neal is going to be a fine left tackle. I think Ekwonu has higher upside. To me, Ekwonu can be the best offensive tackle in the NFL. I don't think Evan Neal's ever going to be that, but I do think he will be a very solid tackle for years to come. So that's a nice pick by them. The Atlanta Falcons go Drake London, and I say, solid pick. I would have personally gone Garrett Wilson, but this is an organizational philosophy. I said it could happen. I said Drake London could be the number 1 receiver off the board, and he was. Fine pick. Drake London's my number 2 overall receiver. He was my number 9 overall player. Atlanta's building a really good young offensive nucleus with Kyle Pitts and Drake London. You just need a speed receiver now. Maybe they could get that in the second round. We'll have to see. But they're building a nice offense. And then next year, you figure they tank this year with Marcus Mariota. Next year, they get their hands on a top 2 or 3 pick, and they could draft a CJ Stroud or a Bryce Young. So they're setting themselves up really well for the future. Gave that pick a B+. Number 9, Charles Cross. We saw this one coming, and I said 9/11 because it's like a plane hitting a building. Like, you could just see, it's like an accident that you're just watching happen. Like, everyone knew Charles Cross was going to be picked by the Seahawks. I am not a fan of Charles Cross, and I'm actually sorry. I should not have made that comparison. I'm not trying to compare this pick to 9/11. It's not, but I'm just saying, like, we could all see this coming, like, oh, please don't do it, please don't do it. And it seemed like if you were a Seahawks fan, it was a lose-lose. You either take Charles Cross or Jermaine Johnson, which I hate both of those prospects. They take Charles Cross. I think Charles Cross is going to really struggle living up to that number 9 overall pick that he was drafted. I gave it a D. Not complete F, but I did give it a D. Number 10, it's going to be Garrett Wilson going to the Jets. The pick gets an A+. Garrett Wilson's going to be a superstar in the NFL. I gave it a little frowny face. No, I'm not a 13-year-old. Like, I don't know why I did. That's like a 13-year-old girl. But the reason I did that was because I just don't love this situation for Garrett Wilson. And I love Garrett Wilson, former Buckeye. I'm really rooting for him in the NFL. Him with Zachary Wilson, I'm not loving it. And also, the targets are going to be spread out because you've got Corey Davis, you've got Elijah Moore. It's just not the most ideal situation. Ideally, I would have loved to see Garrett Wilson go at number 8 overall. Atlanta tanks next year, and then they reunite Garrett Wilson with CJ Stroud. Could you have imagined that? I'm not saying the Drake London pick was bad, but just like it would have been fun to see. But, this is great value for the Jets. They wanted a superstar receiver. They get a superstar receiver in Garrett Wilson. You have to give this pick an A+. So the Jets made out really well with their first 2 picks, Ahmad Gardner and Garrett Wilson. That is an unbelievable haul. You get a shutdown cornerback, and you get a number 1 wide receiver. You can't ask for much more than that. Number 11, the New Orleans Saints. This is when the crazy trades started happening. happening. So the Saints trade up to 11, and they go get Chris Olave. And I like this. I really do. Personally, I think Jameson Williams has a little bit higher of an upside than Chris Olave, but that's not to say Chris Olave is any slouch. I had these guys ranked back-to-back. I think 14th and 15th overall. I did have Jameson Williams in front of Olave by one spot. But again, we're splitting hairs. Olave is going to be a really good receiver. I said yummy, because you've got Chris Olave, Michael Thomas. Maybe you get a quarterback in the second or third round. Someone like Carson Strong would be really intriguing. There's still, Desmond Ridder. There's basically all the quarterbacks left except Kenny Pickett. So it'll be interesting to see what New Orleans does in the second round. But the Olave pick, I thought it was a little outside the box, trading up for Chris Olave. I like it. Be creative. If he's there, if he's your guy, go do it. And then we get Detroit trading up for Jameson Williams. And I think I was a little too hard on this. I don't love trading up and giving up assets, especially if you're a team like Detroit when you desperately need multiple picks to hit. But I understand it. And Jameson Williams in a dome, they could draft like a Desmond Ridder or maybe a Malik Willis or someone and really make out well. Detroit overall getting Aiden Hutchinson, Jameson Williams, that's a great haul. The only problem is you're trading up from 32 to 12. You're going to be giving up a lot of draft capital, and Detroit desperately needs to pick as many players and get as many impact players as possible. But Jameson Williams in that Lions jersey, that's going to be so sexy. It's going to be amazing. And he's coming back from that injury, so once he comes back fully, he should be fine. I did hear that Mel Kiper said that if Jameson Williams didn't get injured, he would have been a top 5 to 7 pick. He's just, I don't know what he's talking about. That's not, no. He might have gone like 10th or to the Jets, but I don't see Jameson Williams being a top 5 pick, personally, even if he was healthy. Number 13, Jordan Davis. Don't love it. I thought it was a reach. Philadelphia, they traded up a few spots here to get him. I've said it so much with Jordan Davis. I think Devontae Wyatt is the better defensive tackle from Georgia. Jordan Davis has major motor issues. It's very interesting now. They've got 2 huge defensive tackles, Fletcher Cox, who I understand is going to retire, but they just re-signed Fletcher Cox to a 1-year, $14 million deal. You're going to have Fletcher Cox and Jordan Davis in your interior. That's a lot of girth. That's a lot of girth. But Jordan Davis, he can be a good player in spurts, but I am concerned with the motor, and taking him number 13 overall is just not great value to me. I think they could have stayed at pick number 15 or 16 and just drafted him there and not given up the assets required, although I think they only gave up like a 4th round pick to move up 2 spots. Number 14, Baltimore taking Kyle Hamilton, A+. Amazing. Kyle Hamilton moving down the board a little bit due to the 40 time. I think it's ridiculous. I thought he would have gone number 11 to the Commanders before they traded the pick, but Kyle Hamilton, Baltimore, just found great value. They find a great football player. I know Lamar Jackson's a little mad right now, but Baltimore cleaned up completely last night. They got 2 extremely elite players. Kyle Hamilton, the safety. I compare him to Justin Simmons. Amazing pick. People were concerned about his 40 time. Whatever. He plays faster than that. With 40 times, I really don't care, more times than not. Number 15 with Houston, Kenyan Green. Yeah, it's an issue with Houston and what they did last night. This is another F for me. Kenyan Green, horrible value. Zion Johnson is better. Cole Strange is better if you're going with an offensive guard. If, trading down, you could probably still get him at pick 23 or 24. So just don't like this at all. I think Kenyan Green's going to be a very average guard in the NFL. I said, kill me. What? I don't even know. It was just a really bad pick. That's the bottom line. Really bad pick. So Houston's haul of Derek Stingley and Kenyan Green, I would be just so disappointed if I was a Houston Texans fan. That's a demoralizing haul. And right now, they might be able to turn it around. They have a few second-round picks. Right now, they're getting an F for me when it comes to overall team draft grades, which I'll be coming out with on Saturday when the draft is over. The Commanders, who traded down from pick number 11, end up with Jihad Dotson, and that's a major reach, Jihad Dotson. This is a guy maybe end of the first round, early to mid-second. He's just too frail. And you've already got a receiver kind of like him in Terry McLaurin. If you wanted to go, maybe Drake London was there at 11. I would have loved to see that. but just Jihad Dotson is too similar to McLaurin. Maybe they don't want to re-sign McLaurin. I don't know what happened here, but to me, this is a major reach. I gave it a D+. Jihad Dotson should not have been picked at number 16. Number 17, the Chargers end up taking Zion Johnson, who I really like. Excuse me. Zion Johnson, I really like. I gave the grade of a B. I said I like it. That's kind of what I don't know why that's on there. But either way, I'm starting to think that this was a little bit of a reach as well. Now, I'm not going to, maybe I'll lower my grade to a B-. Not bad. You need to protect Justin Herbert. He is the franchise. We understand it. And Zion Johnson was my number 2 overall offensive guard behind Cole Strange on my personal big board. So not a terrible pick, but I did expect Zion Johnson to go kind of in the middle of the 20s instead of going at number 17. Treylon Burks goes number 18 in the A.J. Brown trade. So wow, I gave the grade of a D. I have said from the beginning, I think Treylon Burks is Corey Davis 2.0. He's not going to be very good in the NFL, and I think the Tennessee Titans, they're going to take a major step back next year without A.J. Brown. They really are. Philadelphia, you also have to factor in Philadelphia is going to be paying A.J. Brown a ton of money. They just signed him to that 4-year extension when they traded for him, so they're going to be allocating a lot of their cap space to him. But if you're Tennessee, I hate to say it for Tennessee fans, your team just got a lot worse because Treylon Burks is not A.J. Brown. He's just not. He's not nearly as good. And you've got Ryan Tannehill with that terrible contract, Derrick Henry. Things are not looking good in Tennessee. You got to get off of that Ryan Tannehill contract. You really do. But Treylon Burks, I feel like Tennessee was in a bad spot. There were so many receivers that were going off the board so early, and maybe they panicked a little bit. I mean, it was clear they didn't want to pay A.J. Brown. They were like, you know what? Instead of, spending $25 per year to pay A.J. Brown, and we've already got Ryan Tannehill under a terrible contract, we would rather just get a cheap young receiver that we can draft in the first round and have him under contract for 5 years at a small, salary cap hit. I understand that, but Treylon Burks, I just don't think he's going to be very good. He goes at number 18. Trevor Penny goes at number 19 to the Saints. Solid pick, really solid. There was talk that Trevor Penny was going to go as high as pick number 12 or 13 if the Vikings would have kept their pick. They ended up trading it. But Trevor Penny is going to be a really good player. I'm on record saying that I think Trevor Penny is going to be a better NFL offensive tackle than Charles Cross. Gave it a B+. It's not perfect. Trevor Penny needs a lot of seasoning. He's from Northern Iowa, but I like the pick. I said it was solid. Pittsburgh, wow, this was a shock to me. So they end up going Kenny Pickett. I thought for sure Pittsburgh had done such a good job being patient, not giving up any of their assets to trade up. Malik Willis is right there, and they draft Kenny Pickett, and I think Kenny Pickett, I've said it from the beginning, is going to be a bust. It's not really, like you can talk about the small hands and things like that. It's just, you watch Kenny Pickett, Kenny Pickett does not do one thing that's elite. Not one. So I just think it's a bad pick. He had 3 really bad years before he had 1 solid year at Pittsburgh. It was a really nice year. He finished 3rd or 4th in the Heisman. But Kenny Pickett, to me, is going to be a bust. And I think the Steelers finally miss on a quarterback in the first round. They picked Kenny Pickett, and I think that was the wrong pick. I think they're going to really regret that. You got to go with Malik Willis there. If they would have went Malik Willis, I would have given the grade an A- probably. So I said LMAO because I was like, wow, they really made the wrong pick. Trent McDuffie goes 21 to Kansas City. A little random, but I like Trent McDuffie. Did you guys see, if you were watching the draft, Trent McDuffie and his family, they went crazy. He seems like such a good kid. And maybe Kansas City is saying, you know what? We understand we can't just have this unbelievable offense. We're going to use an asset. We're going to use a first-round pick on a solid cornerback. Trent McDuffie is a solid cornerback. I give the grade a B. They said, they were probably like, we didn't think Trent McDuffie was going to be here at 21. He's here. We're going to draft him. So a little bit of a random pick, but I like that. The Green Bay Packers. This might have been the worst pick of the first round. No, you know, I guess you have to say Trayvon Walker is the worst pick of the first round because it's number 1 overall. Quay Walker. Taking Quay Walker instead of Nakobe Dean. That's a terrorist level threat right there. The Green Bay Packers, I told Aaron Rodgers, I begged him, please leave this franchise, leave. They take Quay Walker, and I said suicide time. Honestly, I didn't even love the receivers. I think there's way better value if you wait on receivers in the second round. Sky Moore is not good. Christian Watson's not good. But I love George Pickens, and I love David Bell, and also Alec Pierce, and also Trey McBride. So it's there's options for the Packers in the second round, but Quay Walker over Nakobe Dean. What, because he's more athletic, because he's bigger? What a joke, man. What a bad pick. That's the second worst pick of the first round. Horrible. Massive reach. Horrible. 23 goes to Buffalo. They traded up 2 spots, and I thought the stars had aligned. I thought Breece Hall is getting picked. Josh Allen's going to have Breece Hall and Stephon Diggs, and they take Kamar Elam. Disappointment, I gave it a C. Kamar Elam could be a decent, cornerback. But normally Florida cornerbacks, at least the past few years, they drafted in the first or second round. You remember Quincy Williams, Vernon Hargreaves. They've not been good at all. And this seems like one of those type of corners. So I would have loved to see Breece Hall, the Nick Chubb clone, go here. And that would have been such fun for that offense. But they take Elam. I was so disappointed when I saw that. Tyler Smith goes at 24. It's a bad pick. To me, it's a bad pick. I said trade back, bro. But even if you're at 24, it seemed like Dallas might have been really targeting Treylon Burks, and they thought he was going to last until 24, and he didn't. Tyler Smith is a really developmental type project offensive tackle from Tulsa. It just seems forced. It seems like bad value. I do not like that pick. I'm on record. Baltimore at 25, they take Tyler Linderbaugh, and I said they good at this because Baltimore, oh my God, I know Lamar Jackson is mad. Hollywood Brown got traded, whatever, but Tyler Linderbaugh and Kyle Hamilton getting that haul. Just 2 unbelievably sound football players. Tyler Linderbaugh, I know he's a center, not the great position value, but at pick 25, Baltimore is so good at drafting. Just 2 really good picks. 26 goes to the Jets. Jermaine Johnson. So I said it was a C, and I misspelled awkward. I'm sorry. But no, I said the pick was a C. The thing that happened with Jermaine Johnson was so interesting and so intriguing because I didn't even have Jermaine Johnson in my top 50 on my big board personally, and everyone was like, oh, this is such great value. So, Louis Riddick kept saying, somebody's got to draft him. But it's I still didn't have him in my top 50. If he goes at 26, I don't think that's good value. I think Jermaine Johnson's going to be a bust. So right now, I know that everyone's talking about the Jets. You get Garrett Wilson, Ahmad Gardner, 2 really good players, and then, Jermaine Johnson, he's like a top 10 player. That's great value. I just think Jermaine Johnson's going to be a bust. So I gave the pick a C. I know people think it's great value, but you're going to look back on this pick and be like, oh, we understand why Jermaine Johnson fell. He's really not that good. 27, Devin Lloyd. Solid pick, right? I thought it was a decent pick by the Jaguars at 27. Devin Lloyd's going to be a good linebacker in the NFL. He's not going to be Nakobe Dean. Nakobe Dean's going to be better, but Devin Lloyd's still from Utah. Seemed like he fell a little bit due to his bad 40 time at the combine. He still should be fine. Green Bay at 28. I was deathly afraid Green Bay was going to draft Sky Moore here. Deathly. I would have given that pick an F. But they end up with Devontae Wyatt, and it is a solid pick. But SOS, save Aaron Rodgers. That's what it is, SOS. Devontae Wyatt, I think he's better than Jordan Davis, so it's good value. I gave it a B+. But overall, you need receivers. If Green Bay comes back and drafts either Christian Watson or Sky Moore in the second round, this is the worst franchise in the history of the NFL. If they do, oh my God. It would be horrible. 29, Bill Belichick drafts my guy, Cole Strange. Everyone is like, WTF, what is this? Who's Cole Strange? I know who he is. I had him as my number 17 overall player. Sean McVay made fun of Bill Belichick for drafting Cole Strange in the first round. Sean McVay's a buffoon, if he seriously did that. I saw that on ESPN. I was like, really? You're going to laugh at Bill Belichick? Cole Strange is going to be an all-pro. He's going to be better than Quentin Nelson, guys. Watch. I've said it from the beginning. This is a mountain beast offensive guard. Bill Belichick knows what he's doing. He saw my scouting report and he said, listen, Cole Strange, this kid's a beast. I gave it an A+. Realistically, they could have waited to take Cole Strange in the second round, but just I feel vindicated. Like, I was the one that said Cole Strange was a good player, and he goes in the first round, and I put amazing. 30, the Chiefs take George Karlaftis. That's a really good defensive haul for the Chiefs. Really good. They get George Pickens in the second round. Wow. The Chiefs are doing some things. So the Chiefs get, they get Trent McDuffie and George Karlaftis. I love George Karlaftis. To me, George Karlaftis, he'll definitely be better than Trayvon Walker. No questions. I think he's going to be better than Thibodeau. Probably not better than Aiden Hutchinson, but still, George Karlaftis is a bully. Scouts didn't know what to make of him because he's so big and he's so unique. Love this pick by the Chiefs. They're building up their defense. Such a good pick. A+ I gave it. Daxton Hill at 31. He's an asset. He really is an asset. And B+, this is a guy, I just have him listed as a DB because he can play corner, he can play safety. Solid pick by Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati is probably a little bit sad that Tyler Linderbaugh didn't fall in their laps at 31. That would have been such a good young nucleus to have a superstar young center in Linderbaugh along with Joe Burrow, the quarterback. But Daxton Hill's a good player. He's going to be an asset to the defense. Very versatile. I like it. And then Minnesota, they needed secondary help, but there were just so many good players on the board. You're picking Lewis Cine here. That, to me, that's not good enough. I gave it a C, and I just said meh. It's not good enough. There were far too many really good players on the board, so I gave the Lewis Cine pick from Minnesota. Although Minnesota, they've traded back. They've got multiple second and third round picks. There's so many great players available. When you look at the big board, it's crazy. So I'll be talking about that in my next video. But overall, the grades, my A+, Karlaftis at number 30, Cole Strange at 29, Kyle Hamilton at 14, Garrett Wilson at 10, and Akeem Ekwonu at number 6. Those are my A+. My Fs, Trayvon Walker at number 1, Derek Stingley Jr. at number 3, Kenyan Green, the guard, at number 15, Quay Walker, the linebacker, at number 22. Those were my Fs. Those are all my grades for every single first round pick. I'm coming out with another video here talking about the best second round picks here in a little bit, guys. So make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.